Happening, y'all? I'm gonna do this video. I know somebody else probably done a video about it, but I'm gonna do one. I just need to say, right? Okay, they said we're dealing with a virus, right? Okay, so all you people out there wearing masks and gloves, you're throwing your gloves on the floor, you're throwing your mask on the floor, right? Okay, how is that gonna help deal with this virus or even get rid of a virus? How is that going to help? It's not going to help because people are walking around with gloves, with masks, then they're throwing the gloves and the mask on the floor. And it's not fair to people who are really serious about protecting themselves from the virus, protecting themselves from just having any kind of damage done to their immune system. Now, if you're watching this video, share this video. People, stop throwing your gloves on the floor. After you're done with the gloves, put them in the garbage. Also, your mask. Stop throwing your mask on the floor. After you've done with the mask or with the gloves, put them in the garbage. To throw the gloves and the mask on the floor is causing more of litter, is causing more germs and more diseases because people are throwing their gloves on the floor, they're throwing their mask on the floor after they wear the mask and the gloves. It does not make any sense. So share this video, let everybody know that people need to stop throwing the gloves on the floor, throwing the mask on the floor. Okay, I'm gonna try to get a couple of people interviewed so we can talk about this. How you doing? How do you feel about people throwing gloves on the floor and masks on the floor? I'm doing a video. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's gonna help with stemming the virus spread? How do you feel? Do you like it or you don't like what they're doing? Okay, so we just got her. She says she doesn't like it. So basically, we're going to be talking to some people about people, asking them how do they feel about people throwing masks on the floor. How do you feel about people throwing masks and gloves on the floor? How does that make you feel when you see that?
You got a good move.
Okay, cool. I'm doing an interview. I'm posting on YouTube, okay? Thank you. So now, how do you feel about people throwing gloves and masks on the floor? How do you feel about that? Okay, I'm trying to get a few more people to chime in because we're going to talk about people throwing gloves on the floor and masks on the floor. How you feel about that? Okay. Why? Because it's going to spread the virus more, right? So talk to those people. Tell them what they should do. Okay, so I'm getting a couple of interviews. I'm going to load it up to YouTube because people, we are dealing with the virus, so they say. Right. Put the mask and gloves in the garbage, right? Yeah, you heard it from another person. Thank you, sir. So I'm doing interviews today about how do you feel about people throwing gloves and masks on the floor? How does that affect you?
Sorry, I don't know English.
Okay, no problema. Okay, gracias. Yeah, I'm gonna put this on YouTube.
That's good job. You know you're doing.
Yeah.
Help educate people. You know.
Let me tell you, most of these people, they don't even know how the disease killed them.
Kill them. They don't know.
It drowns you in mucus. So you know what I do? I use herbs. I use herbs.
Very good. You do good job.
How do y'all feel about people throwing gloves and masks on the floor? Okay, because I'm doing a YouTube video. I'm gonna post it up. No, serious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Good job, my
It's
man.
nasty.
That's good, man.
Because
Good, man.
if this is a virus, it will never go away because people are throwing the gloves on the floor, they're throwing the mask on the floor. How is the virus going to go away? It's not going to go away because people are nasty. Get your mask, people. So I'm doing the interview and I'm interviewing people today. How you doing today? How do you feel about people throwing gloves on the floor and masks on the floor after they use them? Does that bother you?
No, it's not appropriate. It's a discovery.
Huh?
It's not appropriate. It's a discovery.
Okay, thank you. I'm loading this video to YouTube. I'm just interviewing a couple of people. Yeah. So basically, most people that uses the mask and the gloves, they throw them on the floor, which is causing more of an issue, and the virus will not go away because people are throwing the gloves and mask on the floor after using them. So how are we going to get rid of a virus? How you doing, my friend? Okay, I'm trying to get a couple of more interviews today with people, and then we're going to post it to YouTube, because you got people that are using the mask, using the gloves, and they're throwing them on the floor. And the virus will not go away if you're going to throw your gloves on the floor and throw your mask on the floor. It's not going to happen. So, how do y'all feel about people throwing their gloves and mask on the floor after? How do you feel about it? Is it bad? Okay, see? Okay, so now we're doing a little interview. I'm going to try to get a couple of more people to talk about this here, because it's an issue. Sir, how do you feel about people throwing gloves and masks on the floor after using them? I'm loading up to YouTube. Okay, you see, another person says that they don't agree with that. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. People got these masks and gloves and they throw them on the floor. How you doing today, sir? We're doing an interview for YouTube. Are you upset that every time you walk around you see gloves and masks on the floor? Does that affect you? Does it bother you?
I don't see it a lot.
Oh, okay, but when you see it, does it affect you?
Contaminates everything.
There
else.
you go. I'm loading this up to YouTube. So how does that affect y'all guys? When you see nasty gloves and masks on the floor, are you affected by that? Does it bother you? What should people do? They should put the gloves and the mask in the garbage after using them, right? Instead of throwing them on the floor, right? Thank you. Would you like to chime in? I'm gonna load it to YouTube. How does it affect you to see people throwing gloves and masks on the floor?
I don't like it.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's an environmental hazard.
There you go. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. We're gonna load this up to YouTube. We're gonna chime in and get a few more people. Because basically, if we're dealing with a virus and many people are throwing the gloves on the floor. They're throwing their gloves on the floor. They're throwing their mask on the floor. And how you expect to get rid of a virus if people are throwing their gloves and masks on the floor after using them? There's no way we're going to be able to get rid of a virus if people don't put the gloves in the garbage, don't put the mask in the garbage, instead of throwing them on the floor. People, share this video. Let people know. How you doing? How do you feel when you see gloves and masks on the floor? Does it bother you? No? Okay. Okay, so some people are concerned, many people aren't. But basically, we're dealing with, quote unquote, health crises pertaining to this virus. So I'm gonna get a couple of more people. We on Fordham Road in the Bronx, people. I decided to do this video because people really need to start being more aware. They should not throw masks and gloves on the floor. After you've used your mask and your gloves, you should put them in the garbage. Do not throw your gloves and mask on the floor. Are you affected by that when you see people throwing gloves and masks on the floor? Okay, I'm trying to get a few more people to chime in. Okay, because this is a health issue. People are throwing their gloves and masks on the floor after using them. And they should not do. How does that affect you? I'm loading this to YouTube. Does that bother you? Does that bother you? Okay, thank you. So we're saying, people, put your gloves and masks in the garbage and don't throw them on the ground after using them. This is what we're saying. So I'm gonna get a few more people to express how they feel pertaining to people throwing their gloves on the floor and their mask on the floor. After using your gloves and mask, you should put them in the garbage. You should not throw your gloves and mask on the floor. So I'm gonna get maybe a few more interviews But I think I got enough people. I just want to get maybe one more person, two more people, and then we're going to call it a wrap. But share this video, okay? And let people know, stop throwing your mask and gloves on the floor. Once you're done with your gloves, once you're done with your mask, put them in the garbage if you want to stop this virus from flowing, from spreading. Okay? Put your mask and gloves in the garbage once you're done with them. Don't throw your gloves on the floor. Don't throw your mask on the floor. Put it in the garbage. Okay? That's what you do. You don't throw it on the floor. You put your gloves and mask in the garbage when you're done with it, okay? So we can stop the spread of this virus or whatever it is. This is what we have to do. We all in this world together. Everybody got to live together. So, share this video, right? I was compelled to do this video because I see a lot of gloves on the floor. I see a lot of masks on the floor. How you doing today? You speak English? How do you feel about people throwing their gloves and masks on the floor? I'm loading this up to YouTube. How do you feel about it?
I feel bad because the hospitals need it.
No, people are taking their gloves and masks and throwing them on the floor.
It's still garbage. I mean, they treat it like it's garbage and it's not.
And it's unsanitary, right?
Exactly.
And how does it make you feel when you see that?
Bad.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna load this to YouTube. All right, so that was the last interview of the day. So I got a female perspective. So I'm just gonna say, hey, listen, stop throwing your gloves on the floor. Stop throwing your mask on the floor. Put them in the garbage. After you are done with your gloves and mask, put them in the garbage. Don't throw your gloves and mask on the floor. Okay? I'm signing out.